Hello everyone, this is Moni Singh. I am back with same chapter, respiration, and today we are going to learn about two types of respiration. So basically respiration is two types that depends upon utilization of oxygen, that is presence of oxygen or absence of oxygen. Okay. So what are those two types? Those are aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. So what is aerobic respiration? Basically aerobic respiration is breakdown of food in the presence of oxygen. When food is breaking down, the breaking down of food takes place in presence of oxygen, that is called aerobic respiration. Okay. And now anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration is breaking down of food in absence of oxygen, right? When food is breaking down in absence of oxygen, that process of respiration is called anaerobic respiration. Okay. Now next one, carbon dioxide and water is released as waste product. In the process of aerobic respiration, carbon dioxide and water is released as in the form of waste product. Okay. But in anaerobic respiration, carbon dioxide is released but water is not released, alcohol is released, okay, as waste product. And in some other examples, lactic acid is released as waste product. Okay. And now next point, aerobic respiration, in this large amount of energy is released. The amount of energy in the process of aerobic respiration is in huge amount. It is in large amount. In the form of ATP it is released actually by the breaking down of food in presence of oxygen. But in anaerobic respiration, less amount of energy is released because it takes place in absence of oxygen, because the food particles are not completely broken down. It is not break down completely in the process of anaerobic respiration. So only little amount of energy is released. Now let us check the chemical equation of aerobic respiration. Food, when it is breaking down in presence of oxygen, that is oxidation of food. What is this? This is called oxidation of food, reaction between oxygen and food particle, glucose. Then carbon dioxide is released, water is released as waste product. How it is released? It is released as in the form of waste product. Clear? And energy is also released, that is in huge amount. Much more energy is released in the process of aerobic respiration. Now let us check the example of the chemical equation of anaerobic respiration. It takes place in absence of oxygen. So food is broken down. The breaking down of food takes place in anaerobic respiration in absence of oxygen. Basically it takes place in yeast and bacteria, of a kind of fungi. Yeast is a kind of fungi and some bacteria, not all bacteria. Okay. Then what is released here? Alcohol and carbon dioxide is released as waste product. What is waste product here? Alcohol and carbon dioxide. And few less amount of energy only released. The energy is released but it is not in much amount, it is in less amount. Okay. Now one more example of chemical equation of anaerobic respiration that takes place basically in muscle cells. In human muscle cell, what happened due to some kind of heavy exercise, जब हम बहुत ज़्यादा एक्सरसाइज करते हैं और बहुत ज़्यादा दौड़ते हैं, फिजिकल एक्सरसाइज, एनी काइंड ऑफ फिजिकल एक्टिविटी जब हम बहुत ज़्यादा करते हैं, ड्यू टू दैट आवर रेट ऑफ ब्रीदिंग इंक्रीजेस, बट द ऑक्सीजन रिक्वायरमेंट फॉर गेटिंग एनर्जी, जो एनर्जी चाहिए उस एक्टिविटी के लिए, उसके लिए द अमाउंट ऑफ ऑक्सीजन दैट सेल नीड during that time is not fulfilled by breathing, though the rate of breathing increases. जब हम physical exercise करते हैं, any kind of heavy exercise activities, physical activities, then rate of breathing increases, but it do not fulfill the amount of oxygen that is required by muscle cells. Correct? So, in absence of oxygen, there is breaking down of food takes place, and due to that, lactic acid is formed and energy is released. So, what is waste product here? Waste product here is lactic acid, and energy is also released, but here is also energy is not in much amount, it is in less amount. Okay. So, what are the examples of anaerobic organisms? Those are yeast and bacteria, and sometimes in human muscle cells. Now let us check the examples of aerobic respiration. In which organisms it takes place? Human, animals, plants. All the kind of living organisms, basically aerobic respiration takes place except yeast, bacteria. Okay, and sometimes in muscle cells. Now, what we call to those organisms which shows the process of aerobic respiration? Well, it is known as, these kind of organisms are called aerobes. Okay, what are those? Those are known as aerobes. And the organism which shows anaerobic respiration are called anaerobes. Okay, the organisms known as anaerobes. Which organisms? Which shows anaerobic respiration, anaerobic mode of respiration. Clear? Understood? Now you look at the screen.